Hey, welcome to Wake Up and Dream. We are so excited to have Sara back on the American soils. She has been traveling and Kelly and we're super stoked. We saw pictures of her travels to Italy with her husband on this 10-year anniversary trip. But today we really want to dive in to get a like a back, not maybe a front seat, kind of a VIP experience of Sara's trip, but also how the prep work that she did in her mind and her heart really played out in how her trip went and how her trip was for the boys. Staying home with Mimi. So, Sara, take it away. We just can't wait to hear all the juicy details.
Yeah. So, last episode, it's kind of funny how we are getting these episodes out because the last episode I talked a lot about what I did in the work to prepare for this trip. And one of the things was, I focused on the word excitement. It was an exciting time for me and my husband. It was an exciting time for the boys to hang out with Mimi and, grandma and grandpa and their cousins. And I just really let that drive my entire month of May. And it changed my perspective entirely on how to approach this trip. So now fast forward to actually the day of leaving, I did all of this preparation, all this prep work ahead of leaving on the 19th of May. And, I was just wondering, like, how is this all going to unfold? Like in my head, I have all of like the things, all the pieces in place. But your how things actually happen in real life sometimes unfold a little bit differently. But it's funny because I feel like everything went like according to plan. Like everything with the kids, we had our things, like they lost our luggage on the way, and we had whatever, we had our travel things because travel never goes according to plan. But in terms of the way that my boys were acting, the way that I was acting and showing up, all of that was by design. And it was really like cool to see that unfold after working so hard the entire month of May to make that a focus. So I don't remember if I left off with like all the little details. I know I shared some of the details of what I was doing for the boys, but the way that I ended up gifting some of the things leading up to the trip. So we left on a Friday. On Thursday night, I gave them a little journal. And I told them, they can write to mommy and daddy. You can write any thoughts that you have. And, and I wrote 2 pages of a 2-page note to each of them at the beginning of the journal that they read. And they immediately took the journals. This was Thursday night. Immediately took the journals and both started writing in it. And Anthony chose to draw a picture. He's like the one that loves art. And Ben just wrote like a full page of just like, I'm going to miss you so much. I hope you have an amazing time. Like all of these things, like, and it was just so, so sweet. And then the next day, we actually we introduced them to Pico, which is the little penguin that we brought on the trip with us. So that was really cool because, I left their cup game out. So their cup game, as a reminder, or if you missed the last episode, it's kind of like an advent calendar where it's a countdown to when we come home. And there were 9 cups with 9 little notes and 9 prizes, all from Pico the penguin. And Pico left a note and this game for them that they woke up to on Friday, the day that we were leaving. And I was like, I wanted to keep like the journal and my note, which was a little bit more sentimental. I wanted that the night before, so we had time to process if processing was needed. And then this fun game that they were looking forward to doing the morning of, and like the introduction of Pico the morning of, because I wanted the kids just to be like, oh, this is going to be so fun when mommy and daddy are away. And that's exactly what happened. And it's funny because Anthony, he has a little tiny penguin, and then Piccolo Pinguino is the Italian little tiny penguin who we took on the trip. So that means tiny penguin in Italian. And he immediately grabbed the penguin and was like, I want this one instead. You could take little tiny penguin. And I'm like, no, we're taking Pico.
Oh my gosh. Sara, that's so cute. And I love just how intentional you are about each day, the gift that you gave, giving them time to process and ask questions, or then just to have fun with it. And I think, Kiddos are just looking for your energy and will feed off of
Yes.
your feeling. And I think that's so important to understand, because sometimes when we get wrapped up in motherhood and making this perfect life for our babies, it's just, if you're tense, they're going to be tense. If you're scared, they're going to be scared. If you're excited and happy and, excited for this adventure, they will be too. And I just have to give you so many props to, one, being aware of yourself and how, scared you were in the beginning before we started, talking and coaching you through some things, and unsure, and then the mama guilt sets in, right? But you were very intentional. You did it on purpose, and you made it about you and your husband and the boys together and separately. And you were just, I hope every mom on the planet has listened to our few episodes with your journey through this, because it really gives moms that encouragement, and that I can do it too. Like, Sara didn't, go through weeks of therapy and hired this person. And you were just intentional with your time and made it like about them, that you wanted to be excited. And I think just that reminder of enjoying the stressful times, making them fun, is the cool part, and that so many memories for all four of you. And I think that's
think
just
about like
incredible.
how that morning could have been different, because if I wasn't as excited for this game, like even if I gave the game on Thursday night and then Friday there was nothing for me to look forward to as a mom to give to them, it would have changed things. So I think the timing was perfect in how I kind of rolled things out, because I rolled things out. I sound like I'm at like work, but like the timing of it was really perfect, because they were super excited for this, game to be displayed on Friday. And it got me excited. Like they want to go downstairs like before. They never want to go downstairs early, but they want to go downstairs early. And me and my husband got out of bed and we were like, we gotta go downstairs. It was almost like it was like Christmas. And I was like, oh, what's over there? It looks like there's something over there. And then they saw Pico. It was just a really fun way to send them off on the bus, because we were sending them on the bus and then I was going to see them in 10 days. So it was really like, it could have been a really like sad moment for all of us, and it wasn't. And I think that was just really incredible. So we get to the bus stop and, they give us hugs. Both boys hug me, and like, Anthony goes and hugs, Jared, and then like Ben just gets on the bus. And Jared's like, Ben, you didn't even hug me. And he just is like, bye, Dad, and like runs on the bus. So it was funny. But they were so calm. It was like every other morning. And it was just, they were good with it. They were like, we're going to have a game. We're going to have fun. Grandma's picking us up tonight. It's going to be fun. Like it was just a really, really great morning.
Because you were calm. So they were calm. And they were just, it's any other day. Mom's not worried. Dad's not scared. So why should we be? And I just think that's so, so amazing. And I know you had, that vision of everybody crying and everybody's upset on the day you leave. And we just talked you down from that and said, that's not going to serve you. Let's create a whole new scene. Let's create something absolutely amazing for you and your family. And that's what you did. That is so cool.
And one other thing that I think I want to just like acknowledge and applaud you, Sara, is because you did the shift. But what I think I want to like just kind of spotlight is when you did the shift, when you did the work of, coming off the ledge, so to speak, of fear and panic and guilt and all of those emotions that were plaguing you, and you released and you surrendered. Remember like those episodes, like how that was. Then the flow started. Then the creative ideas started to flow. There's no way you would have come up with the penguin or the Advent cup thing if you hadn't released all of those negative emotions. And I just want to applaud you, because I think so much of our heart, we want to be creative. We want to, have things feel like they're flowing and ease. But when we live in our head where all the guilt, the panic, the fears, the worries, all of that, the what ifs, there's no creativity there. It just can't happen.
Yeah. And I also think with the flow of how I presented these things to my kids, like I didn't plan that out. Like it was just kind of, it just came to me. It was like, this is the way, because, you know, up until Thursday when we were walking to get the kids, when me and Jared were walking to get the kids, I was like, I think I'm going to give them their journals tonight. You know, like it was kind of just, it just
Love it.
made sense. And there was no pressure. There was no, it just all flowed, and it was great. You know,
Wow.
and then like with that, so I gave them, in addition to their journals, it was cute. They were excited to pack because they were having, so my mom stayed with them during the week for school. And on the weekends, they had a couple sleepovers at my in-laws with their cousins. My husband's parents live with his brother and their kids. So they were excited for like cousin sleepovers. And the kids on Thursday were like, can we come home and pack? So I was like, of course. So they came home. The first thing they wanted to do was pack for their sleepover on Friday night at grandma's and, you know, their cousins. And we went into their room later to see all the bags they packed. They packed about 5 bags each of stuffed animals. They had 1 bag full of clothes that like we went through, and they actually are very thorough. And I was it was interesting because like Ben like had underwear in one pocket and like t-shirts like, you know, in another side. Because when Jared first opened the bag, he's like, they just have shorts and like socks in here. They don't have any shirts or anything. But he had it all organized. So they had 1 book bag for clothes, and then we have, you know, the 5 bags each of their stuffed animals just for their sleepover on Friday. And I was just like, this is just so cute. They were so excited. So Thursday they came home, they packed, then I gave them their little like gift bags that didn't even have tissue paper or anything in it. It was just like a bag of a notebook and a one of those mechanical pencils that they love, but they don't have too many because they're not allowed to write with them in school. So like, or they don't write with them in school. So they were just super excited about these little tiny things. And it was all just, you know. Oh, and then the other thing that I did on Thursday as well was because I wanted to make sure I could show them how to use it. I showed them their Chromebooks. We got Chromebooks during the pandemic that we haven't really used that much with them, but I set up their email addresses. I put their passwords to get to their emails. I showed them how to email. And that first night, they just were like a half hour of just emails. I have like 30 emails each from them, just sending emojis and I love you, mommy. I'm going to miss you. Have a great time, mommy. And all these things. And they were just practicing emailing because that was what I was telling them. Like, you have to check your email because mommy will be sending you stuff throughout the trip. So that was a really cool introduction too, that got them even more excited. So it was like just everything, it just flowed. There was no plan. There was no strict plan. I knew the things that I wanted to gift them, but there was no strict plan and there was no stress around it because I was just kind of letting things go. I just released I wasn't holding on tightly to the steering wheel. I just released and just allowed things to come to me. And it couldn't have gone better. The whole experience of, you know, preparing them for the morning of and saying our goodbyes, it could not have gone better.
Oh, this is so great because I just love seeing women go through a hard time and then come out the other end like more powerful, more in tune to who they are than ever before. And I think, Sarah, you just took that emotion and this trip, like, and you made it yours, right? Because you could be the victim to annoyances in travel and your luggage and I'm sure the boys are going to cry and you know, and all that, and that's where we tend to go, but you refuse to let that happen and just remind ourselves of your word excitement that you wanted to bring to this trip for you and your family. And just, it's absolutely incredible. I love that you just wanted it to be special and that you put your marriage first, but considered the boys and their needs, but then just like Lisa mentioned, being in the flow, because when we're so tightly wound, we can't see what's really truly meant for us and around us and where God wants us to be and lead us. So Kudos to you, girl. You did an amazing job.
you.
I absolutely love it. And it's going to be something the boys will remember forever. And the little penguins were just such a great idea to
Oh,
both
so good.
you and them to capture everything along the way, and just so good. So good.
So Sarah, we didn't really get to hear about the actual trip, so we have to have another episode where we dive in and get to hear all about your travels, because as a travel bug myself, bam, I'm sure there's going to be lots of people that are going to want an inside look to your experiences in Italy and beyond. So
yes, I love to talk about it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we are so grateful that you joined us today, and tune in every Monday for another episode of Wake Up and Dream.